A constant force acts on an object of mass 5 kg for a duration of 2 seconds. It increases the object's velocity from 3 meter per second to 7 meter per second. Find the magnitude of the applied force. Now, if the force was applied for a duration of 5 seconds, what would be the final velocity of the object? So we are looking at two different cases. Let me draw and explain. So case 1, we have an object whose mass is 5 kg and there is a force being applied for a duration of 2 seconds. The object accelerates from 3 meter per second to 7 meter per second. We need to figure out what is this force. Quite simple, right? Next, case 2, we are looking at the same setup. Instead of talking about 2 seconds, it's 5 seconds, right? Now, if the force was applied for a duration of 5 seconds, what would be the final velocity of the object? So we have a similar thing happening. The same force, same object, but instead of 2 seconds, it's 5 seconds. We need to figure out the final velocity. Now, if the force was applied for a duration of, okay, so the object already has a velocity of 7. So now if we apply this same force for a duration of 5 seconds, what would be the final velocity, right? So this is your question. Again, don't get confused. Now, if the force was applied, so we're not talking about this scenario, right? Present scenario is when it is already 7 seconds. Now, if we apply again the same force for a duration of 5 seconds, what happens? Well, let's look at this. Let's look at the force being equal to mass into acceleration, right? So that's how we'll figure out the force. But we don't know the acceleration. We do know the mass, but we don't know the force as well. So we need the help of another equation to figure out either force if not acceleration, and then do the rest of the question. So we don't know how to find force. There is no other way of finding force over here. Yeah, we can figure out the momentum and so on and so forth. We can do that. Or what we can do is we can find the acceleration and then figure out the force. Of course, it's left to you guys what method you guys want to use. So I'm going with finding out the acceleration. How will we find the acceleration? Well, we know the initial velocity, we know the final velocity, we know the time, and we know the mass. So we can use v is equal to u plus at. This will work out, right? We know v, we know u, we don't know acceleration, we know the time. So once we find your a, substitute it over here and you're done. So the final velocity is 7, this is 3, a, and time is 2 seconds. So this would be minus 3 both the sides. This is 4, 3 and 3 gets cancelled, and we have 2a divided by 2 both the sides, and a is equal to 2 meter per second square, right? So we found out the acceleration. Now let's figure out the force. So force is equal to mass into acceleration. So this is 10 Newton. So basically this is 10 Newton. So 10 Newton of force applied on the same object for 5 seconds. What will happen? Quite simple. See, whenever you apply a force, it accelerates. And the acceleration is same because the force is same. So you can tell a is equal to 2 meter per second square as the force and mass is same. So here acceleration is 2 meter per second square. We know the acceleration, we just have to figure out the final velocity. So for this we'll go back to v is equal to u plus at. We know the initial velocity, that's 7, this is 2 and this is 5, 10 and 17 meter per second. So we have the final velocity to be 17 meter per second. the force to be 10 Newton. This is your answer. Again, whenever you get any question wherein there are quite a few information, try to put it across in a diagram so that you get a better picture of it. Then write down the formulas which you think is relevant. It's okay that you're writing the formula which might not be useful, but on the paper it will help you to think. Think like this, I don't know this, I know this, I don't know this. Next set of formula, look at what you know, and wherever you find only one unknown from that particular equation, you find that unknown, substitute in the other one, you'll get back the answer. Is it not? So you have to think in this systematic manner. Next thing is always go case by case. Information from the previous set of data and also previous calculated things would help in the next one. So figure out in that manner. Okay, let me solve this first, then let me worry about this. Some people, they start worrying about the next part even before they start off the previous part. So finish this first, right? Like over here, I found out I founded the value of A. Once I found the value of A, then I substituted it across and found the value of F. So there's a systematic way of figuring it out, right? So please think over before you do something. You have to be organized in your thoughts.